Captain Jun Park rubbed his tired eyes. The bridge of the survey vessel Horizon was quiet. Most of the crew was asleep. Only a few people worked at their stations, checking screens and data. "Sir, you should rest," said Officer Mena, looking up from her console. Jun shook his head. "Not yet. Something feels wrong about this sector." The Horizon was a galactic coalition ship. Its job was to map unknown areas of space. For 3 weeks, they had been scanning this empty region. Nothing special had shown up. Until now. "Captain." Dr. Hyun Kang's voice cut through the quiet. The science officer rarely got excited. "I'm picking up an energy reading." Jun walked to Hyun's station. "Show me." The screen displayed a pulsing blue dot. It wasn't very bright, but it was definitely there. "What is it?" Jun asked. Hyun shook his head. "Unknown. But it's artificial. No natural phenomenon creates this energy pattern." Jun tapped his wrist communicator. "Bridge to navigation. Change course to intercept the energy source at coordinates 227 to 43,891. "Yes, Captain," came the reply. 30 minutes later, the Horizon slowed as it approached the location. The main view screen showed nothing but empty space. "Are you sure about those coordinates?" Jun asked. Hyun nodded. "The signal is stronger now. It's right in front of us, about 10,000 kilometers away." "Scan the area again." The crew worked quickly. Suddenly, all the bridge alarms sounded at once. "Captain," Officer Minna shouted, "something is decloaking." Before their eyes, a massive ship appeared out of nowhere. It was sleek and black, with strange angles that seemed to bend light around it. Its hull bore the faded letters, KSS Phantom *. "That's impossible," whispered Hyun, his face pale. "That's an Earth ship." Jun stared at the vessel. "How can you tell?" "The design. Those are human markings. KSS stands for Korean Space Service." But Hyun's fingers flew across his console. "This doesn't make sense. According to our database, the KSS Phantom * was lost over 200 years ago." The bridge fell silent. "It was an experimental warship," Hyun continued, reading from the screen. "It disappeared during humanity's first interstellar war. It was famous for its advanced cloaking technology and weapons that were years ahead of their time." Jun studied the ship. Despite its age, it showed no signs of damage. Its hull gleamed as if it had just left Earth's shipyards. "The most disturbing thing," Hyun said, "is that it appears to be fully operational. Power readings suggest all systems are running." "Try to contact it," Jun ordered. Officer Minna sent the standard greeting on all channels. Minutes passed. Nothing. "Try again," Jun said. Just as Minna began to transmit, the ship's communication panel lit up. "We're receiving something," she said. "It's not voice or video, just data." The main screen filled with a sequence of numbers and symbols. Hyun studied it. "It's a mathematical sequence. Complex. It might be a code or—" His voice trailed off as he worked through the pattern. "Captain, this isn't random. It's a proof equation. The kind you'd use to prove you're intelligent." "So someone or something on that ship is testing us?" Jun asked. Hyun nodded slowly. "Yes. And based on the complexity, they're very smart." Jun made a decision. "Send a message to Coalition Headquarters. Tell them we found the KSS Phantom *. Request instructions and a research team." As the message went out, the lights on the mysterious warship began to pulse. Its engines glowed softly, and it turned slightly toward them. "Sir," Minna said quietly, "I think it's watching us." Jun couldn't look away from the ancient warship. After 2 centuries lost in space, the legendary Phantom * had returned. And something aboard was very much alive. 3 days after the Horizon found the mysterious warship, a coalition diplomatic vessel arrived. Commander Daho Lee stood at the viewing window, studying the KSS Phantom with wide eyes. "It's even more impressive in person," he said. Beside him, his sister G nodded. "I still can't believe you brought me along." Daho smiled. "You're the best historian on Earth when it comes to early space warfare. If anyone can understand this ship, it's you." Jay wasn't supposed to be here. This was a military mission, but Daho had pulled strings to bring her. His bosses would be angry if they found out. The Phantom was the most advanced ship of its time, Jay said, looking at her tablet. It had technology no other ship had. Some say it could even travel faster than light, in ways we still don't fully understand. The communication officer called out, "Commander Lee, we're ready to dock." Daho turned to his team of 10 specialists. "Remember, we don't know what's on that ship. Stay together and follow my orders." Their small shuttle left the diplomatic vessel and moved slowly toward the Phantom. As they got closer, they could see the ship looked almost new. There was no space dust or damage from years floating in space. "That's not possible," said Ensign Quan, the engineering specialist. "This ship is over 200 years old. It should be falling apart." The shuttle docked with the Phantom with a soft clang. The team put on their spacesuits and prepared to enter. "Life support is working inside," said Quan, checking his readings. "There's air, heat, and gravity." Daho was surprised. How can the system still work after all this time? They entered through the airlock. The inside of the ship was lit with soft blue lights. The halls were clean and empty. "Hello," Daho called out. His voice echoed down the metal corridors. They moved slowly toward the bridge, following the ship's map on their tablets. Every room they passed was in perfect order. It looked like the crew had just stepped away for a moment. "This is creepy," whispered G. "Where is everyone?" When they reached the bridge, the main door slid open automatically. Inside, a single figure sat in the captain's chair, facing away from them. "Hello," Daho said again, his hand moving to his weapon. The chair turned slowly. In it sat an old man with white hair and a wrinkled face. He wore an ancient coalition uniform with a captain's rank. Despite his age, his eyes were sharp and alert. "Visitors," the man said in a raspy voice. "It's been a long time." Daho stepped forward. "I am Commander Daho Lee of the Galactic Coalition. Who are you?" The old man stood up slowly. "Captain Ta-Won Kim of the Korean Space Service vessel Phantom. The team looked at each other in shock. "That's not possible," Jai whispered. "Captain Kim lived over 200 years ago." The old man smiled sadly. "For you, perhaps. For me, it feels like only a few years have passed." "How?" asked Daho. "Time moves differently when you travel the way we did," Captain Kim said. "We got caught in something. A tear in space. We were trying to escape an enemy attack. I sent my crew home in escape pods, but I stayed with the ship." He walked to a window and looked out at the stars. "When we came out of the tear, everything was different. The stars had moved, and I soon realized that time had passed. Much more time than I thought." Jai stepped forward. "Sir, according to our history, the Phantom disappeared 214 years ago. Everyone thought it was destroyed." Captain Kim nodded slowly. 2 centuries. All my family, my friends, my crew. They're all gone, aren't they?" "Yes," said Daho gently. "They're gone." The old captain straightened his back. "Then the Phantom and I are all that's left of our time. And based on the signals I've been picking up, you might need us more than ever." Dr. G. Lee couldn't sleep. For the 3rd night in a row, she sat in the Phantom's data room, reading through the ship's logs. The more she learned, the less sense it made. "You should rest," said Captain Kim, entering the room with 2 cups of tea. Jai looked up and took the offered cup. "I can't. This ship, it's impossible." "What troubles you?" asked the old captain, sitting across from her. Jay pointed to her screen. These systems, many of them weren't invented until decades after you disappeared. The quantum navigation system wasn't developed until 30 years after the Phantom was lost. Captain Kim sipped his tea calmly. Perhaps we had better scientists in my day. That's not all, Jay continued. The ship's battle logs mention encounters with alien species humans didn't meet until long after you vanished. She pulled up an image of a tall, blue-skinned alien, the Azuri. Humanity's first contact with them was 50 years after you disappeared. Captain Kim's face grew serious. Time is not as simple as people think, Dr. Lee. What are you saying? The old captain sighed. When we entered the space tear, we didn't just travel through space. We traveled through time as well. Jai stared at him. You're claiming this ship is from the future. Not exactly. We were caught in a loop. We experienced many possible futures before we came back to this time. In the next room, Commander Da-Ho Lee was having a heated discussion with Admiral Jun from Coalition Command. The Admiral's hologram looked angry. Your report makes no sense, Commander, Jun said. An ancient ship with technology we don't have yet. A captain who should be dead. Time travel. The Coalition Council thinks your team is playing a joke. It's not a joke, sir, Da-Ho insisted. Everything I reported is true. The ship exists. Captain Kim exists. Then he's lying, said the Admiral. He's probably a spy using this old legend as cover. The Valar Empire would love to plant someone inside our ranks. He's not a spy, Da-Ho argued. The DNA tests matched the historical records. He really is Tawan Kim. The Admiral's face hardened. Then he's crazy. There's no such thing as time travel, Commander. You have 48 hours to finish your investigation and return to base. The hologram disappeared. Da-Ho sighed and went to find his sister. He found Ji and Captain Kim in deep conversation. The logs show battles with the Valar, Ji was saying. But the Valar Empire is peaceful. We've had a treaty with them for 20 years. Captain Kim laughed bitterly. Peaceful? In my timeline, they nearly wiped out humanity. Their peace is just preparation for war. What do you mean your timeline? Asked Da-Ho, entering the room. Captain Kim looked at him with tired eyes. Exactly what it sounds like. The Phantom experienced multiple possible futures. In most of them, the Valar attacked without warning. Billions died. That's crazy, said Da-Ho. The Valar are our allies. Captain Kim stood and walked to a control panel. He pressed several buttons, and a star map appeared in the center of the room. Red dots blinked at the edges of Coalition space. What are those? Asked Ji. Valar ships, said Captain Kim. My sensors can detect them even when they're cloaked. They've been gathering for months. Da-Ho stared at the map. That's impossible. Our sensors would have detected them. Your sensors aren't good enough, said Captain Kim. The Valar are preparing for war, just like in my timeline. And just like in my timeline, no one believes it until it's too late. Jai looked from the map to her brother. What if he's right? What if the Phantom really did see the future? Da-Ho didn't answer. He was counting the red dots on the map. There were hundreds. 1 week after discovering the Phantom Commander Da-Ho Lee sat in a large meeting room at Coalition headquarters. The walls were lined with screens showing the faces of military leaders from across human space. This is nonsense, said General Shin, her voice sharp. We have peace with the Valar. They've been our allies for decades. Da-Ho tried again. The ship's sensors detected. Ancient sensors from a 200-year-old ship, interrupted Admiral Jun, and we're supposed to trust them over our modern equipment. Captain Kim sat quietly beside Da-Ho. The old man looked tired but calm. May I speak? He finally asked. The room fell silent. I understand your doubts, Captain Kim said, but the Phantom was designed to detect things other ships cannot. In my timeline, The Valar used this exact moment of trust to launch their attack. Your timeline, laughed General Shin. Listen to yourself. The meeting ended with no decision. As they walked out, Da-ho turned to Captain Kim. I'm sorry they didn't listen. Captain Kim smiled sadly. Few people want to hear bad news, but the storm is still coming. Later that day, back on the Phantom Ji was studying the ship's systems when Captain Kim entered. They didn't believe you, did they? She asked. He shook his head, just like before. Ji stood up. Then we need proof they can't ignore. That night, while Coalition headquarters slept, Captain Kim and Ji secretly activated the Phantom's most advanced sensor array. It was a system that could scan vast distances by bending space itself. This will drain much of our power, warned Captain Kim. It's worth it, said Ji. We need to know the truth. The sensors hummed to life. Data poured across the screens. Ji gasped as the images formed. There are hundreds of Valar ships, she whispered, hidden behind the Ta Nebula. Captain Kim nodded grimly, just as I remembered. They're gathering for the first strike. We need to tell my brother, said Ji, downloading the data. The next morning, Da-ho burst into Admiral Jun's office with Captain Kim and Ji behind him. You need to see this, he said, placing a data chip on the desk. The Admiral sighed but loaded the data. His eyes widened as the screen filled with images of Valar warships. This could be fake, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. Send your fastest scout ship to these coordinates, said Captain Kim. See for yourself. 3 days later, the scout ship returned. The pilot's face was pale with fear as he reported. The Valar fleet is massive, he confirmed. At least 500 warships, all armed and ready. Emergency alarms sounded throughout headquarters. Admiral Jun called an emergency meeting of all fleet commanders. We were wrong, he admitted to Da-ho. If you hadn't brought us this warning. Da-ho shook his head. It wasn't me. It was Captain Kim and the Phantom *. By nightfall, the Coalition had moved its ships into defensive positions. Captain Kim stood on the Phantom's bridge, watching the activity through the view screen. It's happening again, he said softly. What do you mean? Asked Ji, who stood nearby. The preparations, the fear, the coming battle. I've lived through this before. But this time we're ready, said Ji. Thanks to you. Captain Kim turned to her, his eyes sad. Being ready isn't enough. In my timeline, we were ready too. We still lost millions. Then what do we do? Asked Ji. We changed the timeline, said Captain Kim. We used the Phantom to do what it was truly built for. Admiral Sunok Choi paced the command center of Coalition headquarters. The large screens around her showed the positions of all Coalition ships moving into defensive formations. We need more time, she said to Commander Da-ho Lee. Our fleet is spread too thin. Da-ho nodded. The Valar will attack within days. Captain Kim is certain of it. Admiral Choi stopped pacing. This ancient captain and his ghost ship, can they really help us? The Phantom has technology we don't understand, Da-ho said. If Captain Kim is right about everything else, then he might be our best hope. After a moment, Admiral Choi made her decision. Form a special task force around the Phantom *. Give Captain Kim whatever he needs. That same day, the best officers from across the Coalition arrived at the Phantom *. Among them was Lieutenant Han Bin-yoon, a young tactical officer known for his brilliant mind. Captain Kim greeted them on the bridge. Welcome aboard. We don't have much time. Han Bin looked around with wide eyes. This ship is incredible. The design is like nothing I've ever seen. It was built to fight wars we hoped would never come, said Captain Kim. Now you must learn how to use it. The old captain assigned each officer to a different station. Han Bin was paired with Captain Kim himself at the weapons console. These aren't normal weapons. Captain Kim explained. They don't just destroy. They change how space and time work around the target. Han Bin studied the controls. This doesn't make sense. The power readings are impossible. Many things about this ship seem impossible, said Captain Kim with a small smile. Yet here we are. Below deck, Ju worked with coalition engineers to understand the ship's drive system. The engineers scratched their heads as they studied the strange engine. It doesn't burn fuel, said one engineer. It seems to fold space somehow. Ji nodded. Captain Kim calls it space-time manipulator. It doesn't move the ship through space. It moves space around the ship. That's decades beyond our technology, said the engineer. Or centuries behind it, Jai whispered to herself. For the next 2 days, the crew trained nonstop. Han Bin learned quickly, his fingers flying over the weapons controls as if he had used them his whole life. You have a natural talent, Captain Kim told him. In my timeline, officers like you saved many lives. Han Bin looked up. You keep saying my timeline. What exactly happened to you, Captain? The old man's eyes grew distant. The Phantom was caught in a temporal anomaly. We experienced many possible futures. In most of them, humanity suffered greatly at the hands of the Valar. And you came back to warn us. Not exactly. I never meant to come back. But now that I'm here, perhaps I can change things. On the third day, Admiral Choi called a meeting of all ship captains. The holographic faces of 20 captains appeared around the table. The Valar fleet is moving, she announced. Our scouts report they will reach coalition space within 48 hours. Captain Kim stood up. They'll attack the colony world of New Busan first. It's lightly defended and rich in resources they need. Admiral Choi looked surprised. How can you know their target? Because I've seen this war before, said Captain Kim. We should move our fleet to defend New Busan immediately. Some captains argued, but Admiral Choi made her decision. We'll trust Captain Kim's information. All ships prepare to jump to New Busan. As they left the meeting, Han Bin walked beside Captain Kim. What will happen when we face the Valar? Captain Kim's face was grim. In my timeline, the battle for New Busan was where humanity learned how dangerous the Valar truly are. Alarms blared throughout the colony of New Busan. People ran to safety bunkers as the sky filled with coalition ships. Evacuation is 60% complete, reported an officer on the Phantom's bridge. Captain Kim nodded grimly. We're running out of time. The Valar will be here soon. The coalition fleet had arrived only hours ago. 20 warships formed a protective ring around the colony. The Phantom floated at the edge of the system, its advanced sensors scanning deep space. Lieutenant Han Bin studied his screen. Captain, I'm detecting distortions at the system edge. They're coming, said Captain Kim. He opened a channel to Admiral Choi. Admiral, the Valar fleet will arrive in approximately 10 minutes. They're using their jump technology. Understood, replied Choi. All ships to battle positions. Han Bin looked worried. Sir, my scans show over 200 Valar ships incoming. We're outnumbered 10-1. Numbers aren't everything, said Captain Kim. He turned to the crew. The Phantom was built for this moment. Trust your training. Bright flashes lit up space as the Valar fleet appeared. Their ships were sleek and silver, bristling with weapons. They moved with perfect coordination, spreading out to surround the coalition forces. They're earlier than I expected, muttered Captain Kim. The timeline is already changing. The Valar didn't send any messages or demands. They simply opened fire. Energy beams sliced through space toward the colony. Before the coalition fleet could respond, Captain Kim activated the Phantom's engines. The ship shot forward at impossible speed. Weapons ready, said Han Bin. Target their lead ships, ordered Captain Kim. Use the phase disruptors. Han Bin pressed the controls. Strange blue energy pulses fired from the Phantom. When they hit the Valor ships, something odd happened. The ships didn't explode. Instead, they froze in place, their weapons and engines shut down. "What just happened?" asked Han Bin in amazement. "The disruptors freeze time around the target," explained Captain Kim. "Those ships are experiencing a different time flow from us. For them, only milliseconds are passing." The Phantom moved with incredible speed between the Valor ships. Each time Han Bin fired, another enemy vessel froze. The remaining Valor turned all their weapons on the Phantom. "They recognize the ship," said Captain Kim. "They fear it." Enemy fire poured toward them, but the Phantom seemed to know where the shots would go before they were fired. It moved just enough to let the beams pass harmlessly by. "Our defense system is predicting their attacks," Han Bin realized. "How is that possible?" "The ship's computer calculates all possible firing solutions," said Captain Kim. "It knows what they'll do before they do it." As the battle raged, Admiral Choi's fleet arrived. They watched in awe as the single ancient warship held off the entire Valor force. "It's incredible," said Admiral Choi over the comm. "One ship against hundreds." The battle lasted 3 hours. By the end, 50 Valor ships were frozen in time, 30 had retreated, and the rest were damaged or destroyed. The coalition had lost only 2 ships. As the fighting ended, Captain Kim slumped in his chair, suddenly looking every bit his age. "Are you all right, sir?" asked Han Bin. "Just tired," said the old captain. "Using the ship's full capabilities takes a toll on its pilot." Admiral Choi's face appeared on the view screen. "Captain Kim, you've saved countless lives today. How did you do it?" "It wasn't me," said Captain Kim. "It was the Phantom and this is only a small victory. The main Valor fleet is still coming." Han Bin looked at his tactical display. "They're regrouping at the edge of the system. Thousands of ships." Captain Kim nodded. "The real test is yet to come." Red emergency lights flashed throughout the coalition command ship. Admiral Choi stared at the tactical display in horror. Thousands of Valor ships had appeared at the edge of the system. "We can't win this fight," she said quietly. Commander Daho nodded. "Even with the Phantom, we're too outnumbered." All eyes turned to Captain Kim, who stood silently by the window. The old man watched as the coalition fleet formed its last defensive line around Earth. "There is one option left," Captain Kim finally said. "But the price is high." Back on the Phantom, Captain Kim led a small group to a sealed room deep within the ship. The door was marked with warning symbols in an ancient language. "What is this place?" asked Lieutenant Han Bin. "The heart of the Phantom, replied Captain Kim. He placed his hand on a scanner, and the door slid open. Inside was a glowing blue sphere surrounded by spinning rings of light. The air hummed with power. "This is what makes the Phantom special," explained Captain Kim. "The temporal core." Dr. G. Lee gasped. "This technology, it's not just ahead of our time. It's beyond anything we've ever imagined." Captain Kim nodded. "The core can create a localized temporal disruption. In simple terms, it can remove a portion of space from normal time." "What does that mean?" asked Han Bin. "It means we can trap the Valor fleet in a bubble outside of normal time. They would be frozen forever, unable to harm anyone." "That's amazing," said Daho. "We can stop them without killing anyone." Captain Kim's face grew sad. "There's a cost. The ship creating the disruption gets trapped too. Forever." Silence fell over the room as everyone understood what Captain Kim was saying. "No," said Daho firmly. "We'll find another way." "There is no other way," said Captain Kim. "I've seen every possible outcome. This is the only path where humanity survives." "Then let me do it," said Han Bin suddenly. "You've already given enough, Captain." Captain Kim smiled at the young officer. "The Phantom is connected to me. It won't work for anyone else." He paused. but I will need your help to operate the systems. Han Bin straightened his back. Then I volunteered to stay with you. No, shouted Daho. I can't let you sacrifice yourselves. It's not your choice, Commander, said Captain Kim gently. I've lived 2 centuries beyond my time. My family and friends are long gone. This is why I'm here. This is my purpose. Dr. J had been quiet, studying the temporal core. Now she looked up. The historical knowledge in this ship, it can't be lost. I'm staying too. Gee, no. Daho grabbed his sister's arm. She pulled away. This ship contains technology that could advance humanity by centuries. Someone needs to record it all, to understand it. That's my job. Admiral Choi's voice came over the comm system. The Valor fleet is advancing. We have less than 30 minutes. Captain Kim turned to Daho. You must go. Lead the evacuation of the planet. Save as many as you can. Daho looked at his sister, then at Han Bin and Captain Kim. Tears filled his eyes. I will never forget you, he promised. After Daho left, Captain Kim, Han Bin, and Jai prepared the ship. They worked quickly, programming the temporal core. Will it hurt? Asked Han Bin. No, said Captain Kim. For us, time will simply stop. As the Valor fleet approached Earth, the Phantom moved to intercept them. The ancient warship looked tiny against the wall of enemy vessels. Inside, Captain Kim sat in the command chair. Han Bin stood at the weapons station. Ji worked at the science console, sending one final data transmission to the Coalition. Are you ready? Asked Captain Kim. Han Bin and Ji nodded. For humanity, said Captain Kim, and activated the temporal core. Red emergency lights flashed throughout the Coalition command ship. Admiral Choi stared at the tactical display in horror. Thousands of Valor ships had appeared at the edge of the system. We can't win this fight, she said quietly. Commander Daho nodded. Even with the Phantom we're too outnumbered. All eyes turned to Captain Kim, who stood silently by the window. The old man watched as the Coalition fleet formed its last defensive line around Earth. There is one option left, Captain Kim finally said. But the price is high. Back on the Phantom Captain Kim led a small group to a sealed room deep within the ship. The door was marked with warning symbols in an ancient language. What is this place? Asked Lieutenant Han Bin. The heart of the Phantom replied Captain Kim. He placed his hand on a scanner, and the door slid open. Inside was a glowing blue sphere surrounded by spinning rings of light. The air hummed with power. This is what makes the Phantom special, explained Captain Kim. The temporal core. Dr. Ji Li gasped. This technology, it's not just ahead of our time. It's beyond anything we've ever imagined. Captain Kim nodded. The core can create a localized temporal disruption. In simple terms, it can remove a portion of space from normal time. What does that mean? Asked Han Bin. It means we can trap the Valor fleet in a bubble outside of normal time. They would be frozen forever, unable to harm anyone. That's amazing, said Daho. We can stop them without killing anyone. Captain Kim's face grew sad. There's a cost. The ship creating the disruption gets trapped too. Forever. Silence fell over the room as everyone understood what Captain Kim was saying. No, said Daho firmly. We'll find another way. There is no other way, said Captain Kim. I've seen every possible outcome. This is the only path where humanity survives. Then let me do it, said Han Bin suddenly. You've already given enough, Captain. Captain Kim smiled at the young officer. The Phantom is connected to me. It won't work for anyone else. He paused. But I will need your help to operate the systems. Han Bin straightened his back. Then I volunteered to stay with you. No, shouted Daho. I can't let you sacrifice yourselves. It's not your choice, Commander, said Captain Kim gently. I've lived 2 centuries beyond my time. My family and friends are long gone. This is why I'm here. This is my purpose." Dr. G had been quiet, studying the temporal core. Now she looked up. "The historical knowledge in this ship, it can't be lost. I'm staying too." "G, no." Daho grabbed his sister's arm. She pulled away. "This ship contains technology that could advance humanity by centuries. Someone needs to record it all, to understand it. That's my job." Admiral Choi's voice came over the comm system. "The Valor fleet is advancing. We have less than 30 minutes. Captain Kim turned to Daho. "You must go. Lead the evacuation of the planet. Save as many as you can." Daho looked at his sister, then at Hanbin and Captain Kim. Tears filled his eyes. "I will never forget you," he promised. After Daho left, Captain Kim, Hanbin, and Jai prepared the ship. They worked quickly, programming the temporal core. "Will it hurt?" asked Hanbin. "No," said Captain Kim. "For us, time will simply stop." As the Valor fleet approached Earth, the Phantom moved to intercept them. The ancient warship looked tiny against the wall of enemy vessels. Inside, Captain Kim sat in the command chair. Hanbin stood at the weapons station. Ji worked at the science console, sending one final data transmission to the Coalition. "Are you ready?" asked Captain Kim. Hanbin and Ji nodded. "For humanity," said Captain Kim, and activated the temporal core. A bright light flashed in space where the Phantom faced the Valor fleet. It expanded outward, a shimmering blue sphere that swallowed the enemy ships one by one. The sphere grew until it was larger than Earth's moon, then slowly began to fade. Where thousands of Valor ships had been, there was now nothing. Just empty space, and the Phantom was gone too. On the Coalition command ship, Commander Daho Lee watched with tears in his eyes. "They did it," whispered Admiral Choi beside him. "They saved us all." 5 years passed. Earth and its colonies rebuilt. The sacrifice of the Phantom and its crew was not forgotten. Statues of Captain Kim, Lieutenant Hanbin, and Dr. G. Lee stood in the central plaza of every human settlement. Commander Lee was now Admiral Lee. He stood on the bridge of humanity's newest flagship, watching as the final systems came online. "All checks complete," Admiral reported his second-in-command. "The KSS Remembrance is ready for launch." Admiral Lee nodded. The Remembrance was the first of a new class of ships built using technology from the Phantom. In the last moments before they vanished, Dr. Joy had transmitted massive amounts of data back to Earth. It contained designs and information that advanced human science by centuries. "Begin launch sequence," ordered Admiral Lee. The mighty ship hummed to life. Its engines were based on the Phantom's drive system, though not as powerful. Its sensors and weapons were far beyond anything humans had built before. Admiral Lee walked to the memorial wall at the back of the bridge. 3 faces looked back at him from the display. Captain Kim with his wise, weathered face, Hanbin with his young, determined eyes, and Ji, his sister, with her curious smile. "We would not be here without them," he said to his crew. "Remember their sacrifice." The Remembrance left Earth's orbit smoothly. Its mission was to explore beyond known space, to find new allies and establish peaceful contact with other species. As they passed the outer planets, a young sensor officer called out, "Admiral, I'm detecting something strange." Admiral Lee moved to her station. "What is it?" "An energy reading, sir. Very faint. It's similar to the temporal signature we recorded when the Phantom disappeared." Hope flared in Admiral Lee's heart. "Can you locate it?" "It's coming from the edge of the solar system, sir, just at the limit of our sensor's range." Admiral Lee made a quick decision. "Change course. Let's investigate." The asterisk remembrance asterisk turned and accelerated toward the mysterious signal. As they got closer, the reading became clearer. "It's definitely the same energy type, sir," said the sensor officer. "But it's like an echo, not a full signature." When they reached the source, they found nothing visible, just empty space, but the sensors still detected the energy. "It's as if something is trying to reach through from somewhere else," said the science officer. Admiral Lee stared at the view screen. "Send a message. All frequencies." "What should it say, sir?" Admiral Lee thought for a moment. "Send our ship identification and add, 'We remember you.'" They sent the message and waited. For 10 minutes, nothing happened. Then, just as Admiral Lee was about to order them to continue their mission, the sensors beeped. "We're receiving something, sir. It's a mathematical sequence. The same one the asterisk phantom asterisk first sent when it was discovered." A small smile crossed Admiral Lee's face. "They're still out there," he whispered, "watching over us." As the asterisk remembrance asterisk continued its journey, the faint energy signature followed, always just at the edge of their sensor's range. A guardian from beyond time, ensuring humanity's safe passage to the stars. And somewhere in the depths of space and time, inside a pocket of frozen reality, 3 heroes watched over the future they had given everything to protect.